Sometimes the worst moment of your life becomes the doorway to everything you never knew you needed. This is a story about a woman who said no, and the man who heard yes anyway. Before we continue, please subscribe and comment right away. I'm glad to have you here. Follow my story until the end and comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far my story has reached. The coffee shop sat wedged between a laundromat and a bookstore nobody visited anymore. The kind of place where the Wi-Fi password hadn't changed in 5 years, and the same 12 people showed up every morning like clockwork. She walked in at 7:15. Always 7:15. Her name doesn't matter for this story. What matters is that she carried the weight of the world in a messenger bag that had seen better days. And she ordered the same thing every single morning, medium black coffee, no room for cream, and a blueberry muffin she never finished. The barista knew her order by heart. The regulars nodded hello, but never pushed for conversation. She liked it that way. Predictable, safe, controlled. And then one Tuesday morning in October, everything changed. He was sitting at her table, not near it, not beside it, at it. The corner table by the window where the morning light came in just right, where she could see both the door and the street, where she'd been sitting every morning for 3 years. Now, before you judge her for what happens next, you need to understand something. When your whole life feels like it's falling apart, sometimes the only thing you can control is where you sit to drink your coffee. She stood there, tray in hand, frozen. He looked up. Their eyes met for exactly 2 seconds. He smiled, not the practiced smile of someone trying to impress, but the genuine kind that reaches the eyes first. The kind that made you think maybe he knew something about the universe you didn't. "I think you're at my table," she said. The words came out sharper than she intended. Colder. His smile didn't fade. "I didn't see a reservation. I sit here every morning. I just moved into the apartment upstairs 3 days ago. Nobody told me the seating was assigned." The coffee shop had gone quiet. The regulars watched like this was the most interesting thing that had happened since Mr. Patterson's toupee flew off during that freak windstorm last spring. "Look," he said, standing up. He was tall, the kind of tall that made him fold himself into chairs. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. Please take it." He gathered his laptop, his coffee, his notebook filled with scratchy handwriting. She should have said thank you. She should have smiled. She should have let it go. Instead, she said, "I'd appreciate if you didn't take it again." Something flickered across his face. Not anger. Something sadder. "Understood," he said quietly. He moved to a table in the back, the one near the bathroom where the fluorescent light buzzed like a dying insect. She sat down at her table and opened her laptop and tried to ignore the sick feeling in her stomach that told her she'd just been cruel to someone who didn't deserve it. But here's the thing about small cruelties. They have a way of echoing, of growing, of becoming something you can't take back. 3 weeks passed. She learned his routine without meaning to. 7:30 every morning, he'd order a large coffee with oat milk and 2 sugars, toast with butter. And he'd sit at that terrible table in the back and write in his notebook for exactly 1 hour before his laptop came out. She learned he was left-handed, that he bit his lower lip when he was concentrating, that he always left a $5 tip even though his coffee was only $3.50. She learned his clothes were clean but worn. His laptop was old enough to have actual ports. His shoes had been resoled at least twice. And she learned something else. He was kind. When Mrs. Chen's grandson knocked over his chocolate milk, he was the one who helped clean it up. When the register system crashed and people started getting impatient, he told everyone behind him to go ahead. He wasn't in a hurry. When the owner complained about needing to fix the leaking sink, she overheard him offer to take a look at it for free. She told herself she wasn't watching him. She was just aware. That's all. Her life was a carefully constructed routine designed to hold back chaos. Morning coffee shop, work from 9 to 6 at the accounting firm, where she processed numbers that all blurred together. Grocery shopping on Wednesdays, laundry on Sundays, phone calls with her mother every Friday, where she pretended everything was fine. But everything wasn't fine. The bills were piling up. Her mother's medical treatments were expensive even with insurance. Her sister had borrowed money 8 months ago and stopped returning calls. Her apartment had black mold in the bathroom, and the landlord kept promising to fix it, but never did. She was 28 years old, and she felt ancient. The coffee shop was her 1 hour of peace before the world came crashing back in. And then on a Thursday morning in November, he wasn't there. She told herself she didn't notice. She told herself she didn't care. She told herself a lot of lies that morning. Friday, he wasn't there either. Saturday, she never came on Saturdays, but she found herself walking by. The coffee shop was closed for a private event. Sunday, she actually asked the barista, "That guy who sits in the back, is he okay?" The barista, a college student named Maya with purple streaks in her hair, raised an eyebrow. "I thought you two weren't talking." "We're not. I just noticed he hasn't been here. His dad had a heart attack. He went back to his hometown. Somewhere in Ohio, I think." The floor felt unsteady. "Is his dad okay?" Maya shrugged. "I don't know. He looked pretty shaken when he left." Guilt is a strange thing. It waits. It watches. And then when you least expect it, it reaches up and grabs you by the throat. 12 days later, he came back. She knew the exact moment he walked in because she felt it, that shift in the air when someone you've been thinking about suddenly occupies the same space as you. He looked exhausted. His eyes had dark circles. His clothes hung a little looser. He ordered his coffee, left his $5 tip, and walked toward the back table. She stood up before she could stop herself. "How's your father?" He turned, surprised she was speaking to him. Surprised she knew. "He's stable. Thank you for asking." "I'm sorry," she said. The words felt small and insufficient. "About your dad. And about before. When we first met. I was rude." He studied her face for a long moment. "You were protecting your space. I understand that more than you think. It was still unkind. Then consider yourself forgiven." He smiled, but it was tired. Life's too short to hold on to stuff like that. "Do you want to sit here?" She gestured to the empty chair at her table. "The light's better. And that bulb in the back sounds like it's plotting murder." He laughed, actually laughed. It was the first real laugh she'd heard from him. "Are you sure? I don't want to invade your space." "I'm sure." And just like that, everything changed. His name was Sam. He was 31. He'd been a high school English teacher for 6 years before his school district cut funding and eliminated his position. He'd been trying to write a novel for 3 years, but kept getting stuck at chapter 7. He'd moved to the city because he thought a change of scenery would help him figure out what came next. Her name was Jordan. She was 28. She'd been good at math since she was 7 years old, and everyone said she should become an accountant because it was practical and safe. She'd been engaged once, for years ago, to a man who left 3 weeks before the wedding because he'd fallen in love with someone else. She hadn't dated since. They didn't exchange all this information at once. It came in pieces, over days and weeks, in the comfortable rhythm of two people who were becoming something neither of them had a word for yet. Not friends, exactly. Not strangers anymore. Something in between. The best relationships don't explode into existence. They grow quiet and steady, like roots going deep before anyone notices the tree. It was mid-December when she noticed the folder. He'd gone to the bathroom. Leaving his things at the table, something he only did when she was there, she realized, trust in its smallest form. The folder was open. Inside were bills. Lots of bills. She shouldn't have looked. She knew that. But she saw the numbers. The medical debt. The defaulted student loans. The eviction notice dated for January 1st. Her stomach dropped. When he came back, she was staring at her coffee. "You okay?" he asked. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." That first day when I asked you to move, you said, "Understood." Not, "Okay," or "Sure." You said, "Understood." Like you really got it. He sat down slowly. "I did understand." "Why?" He was quiet for a long moment, his fingers tracing patterns on the coffee cup. "Because I've lost a lot of things in the past 2 years. My job, my apartment. I had to move back with my dad for 18 months. My confidence, my sense of who I was supposed to be. And when you lose that much, you start holding on to the little things even tighter. A table by a window, a routine, something that feels like it's yours." Her throat felt tight. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I mean it." He met her eyes. "You were just trying to hold on to something in a world that keeps taking things away. I understand that better than anyone." "The eviction notice," she said quietly. "I saw it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to look, but it's okay." He closed the folder. "I'm not ashamed. I'm just tired." "How much time do you have?" 2 weeks. "I've been looking for something I can afford, but everything in this city costs a fortune. I might have to move back home, back to Ohio." The thought of him leaving felt like a door closing that she hadn't known was open. "Don't go," she said. He looked at her, surprised. "I mean, you just got here. You're writing again. You seem, I don't know, like you're figuring things out." "I am," he said softly. "Some of that is because of you. Me. You gave me my table back. You could have kept shutting me out, but you didn't. You let me in. Do you know how rare that is?" Christmas Eve found them in the coffee shop after closing. Maya had given Jordan a key months ago for early morning conference calls, and Jordan had texted Sam, "Come to the shop at 8 p.m. Bring your laptop." He showed up, confused and curious. She'd set up 2 chairs, 2 coffees, and a space heater because the heating system was ancient and the owner was cheap. "What's this?" he asked. "Writing night," she said. "You've been stuck on chapter 7 for 3 years. I've been helping my mother with medical bills for 2 years, and I'm drowning. We're both stuck. So tonight, we get unstuck together. You write. I make a plan. We don't leave until we've made actual progress." He smiled. "You're serious. Dead serious. Sit." He sat. They worked in silence for an hour. Then 2. At some point, she made more coffee. At another point, he stretched and complained about his back, and she told him he had the posture of a question mark. He threw a napkin at her. She threw it back. At 11 o'clock, he said, "I finished chapter 7. She looked up. "Really? Really? It's rough, but it's done. I've been stuck on this for so long I forgot what it felt like to push through." "What was holding you back?" "Fear, I think. Fear that it wouldn't be good enough. That I wouldn't be good enough." She understood that more than he knew. "Can I read it?" He hesitated, then turned his laptop toward her. She read in silence. When she finished, her eyes were damp. "Sam, this is beautiful. You're just saying that." "I'm not. I'm really not. This is God. This is the kind of writing that makes you feel less alone. Don't you dare give up on this." He looked at her like she'd just handed him something precious he'd thought was lost forever. Maybe she had. "Your turn," he said. "What did you figure out?" She showed him her spreadsheet. "I've been approaching this all wrong. I've been trying to handle everything myself because asking for help felt like failing. But there are programs for people in my situation, payment plans, resources I didn't know existed. I made some calls today. I have meetings set up after New Year's. That's huge. It's terrifying. Same thing sometimes. She laughed, and it felt good. Real. Thank you, she said. For what? For sitting at my table that first day. For being kind to everyone. For making me remember that life doesn't have to be just surviving. He reached across the table and took her hand. It was the first time they'd touched beyond accidental brushes. His hand was warm, solid, real. Jordan, he said quietly, I need to tell you something. Her heart started beating faster. What? I'm falling for you. I've been falling for you since that first day when you were mean to me about the table, and I thought, this woman knows what she wants and isn't afraid to ask for it. And then every day after that, I fell a little more. The way you bite your pen when you're concentrating. The way you remember how everyone takes their coffee. The way you pretend you're not looking at me, but I can feel you looking anyway. Sam, you don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. Because in 2 weeks, I might be gone. And I couldn't leave without telling you that meeting you was the best thing that happened to me this year. Maybe in a lot of years. She should have been scared. She should have pulled her hand back. She should have protected herself the way she'd been doing for 4 years. Instead, she said, I'm falling too. And it terrifies me because everyone I've ever fallen for has left. And I don't think I could handle it if you left too. Then let's not leave, he said. Either of us. Let's figure this out together. You need a place to live. And you need help with your mother's bills. How does that solve anything? He smiled. What if we pooled our resources? I saw you have a 2-bedroom apartment. What if I rented your second room? Split the bills. I could help with utilities, groceries. It would give me time to find a better job. Give you some breathing room, financially. She stared at him. You want to be roommates? I want to be whatever means I get to keep knowing you. It was crazy. It was impulsive. It was everything she'd spent 4 years avoiding. But sometimes the craziest thing you can do is the safest thing you've been afraid to try. Okay, she said. Okay. Move in. Let's figure this out together. He squeezed her hand, and for the first time in a very long time, she felt like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be all right. They say you never really know someone until you live with them. Sam moved in on New Year's Day. He brought 3 boxes of books, a duffel bag of clothes, and a plant he'd somehow kept alive for 2 years that he called Fernando. You named your plant, she said. Fernando is a distinguished gentleman who deserves respect. She laughed. She'd been doing that a lot lately. The first week was awkward. They tiptoed around each other, overly polite, hyper-aware of every sound and movement. He apologized for breathing too loud while she worked. She apologized for her alarm going off at 6 in the morning. The second week was better. They found a rhythm. He cooked breakfast while she got ready for work. She picked up groceries on her way home. They ate dinner together most nights, sharing stories about their days, slowly unfolding the complicated maps of their lives. The third week, her mother called at 2 in the morning. Jordan's phone rang, and she stumbled out of bed, heart hammering. Mom, what's wrong? Sam appeared in her doorway seconds later, alert and worried. The pain is back, her mother said, voice tight. Worse than before. I'm at the hospital. I'm coming. Which hospital? Her mother gave her the name. Jordan was already pulling on clothes, hands shaking. I'll drive you, Sam said. You don't have to. I'm driving you. Real love isn't always candlelight and roses. Sometimes it's showing up at 2 in the morning and not asking questions. They drove through empty streets, the city asleep around them. Jordan's hands were twisted in her lap, her whole body vibrating with fear. She's going to be okay, Sam said quietly. You don't know that. You're right. I don't. But I know she's strong. I know she has you. And I know that whatever happens, you won't face it alone. She started crying then, big, gasping sobs she'd been holding back for months. Years, maybe. He pulled over, put the car in park, and held her while she fell apart. They spent 7 hours in that hospital waiting room. Sam got coffee that tasted like regret. Jordan paced until her feet hurt. They sat in plastic chairs that were designed by someone who hated the human spine. At 9 a.m, the doctor came out. She's stable, he said. We're keeping her for observation, but the immediate danger has passed. Jordan nearly collapsed with relief. Sam caught her. Can I see her? Jordan asked. Room 304. She's awake. Jordan ran. Her mother looked small in the hospital bed, hooked up to machines that beeped and whirred. But she was smiling. Hey, baby girl. Mom. Jordan took her hand, careful of the 4. You scared me. I'm okay. Just my body reminding me I'm not 20 anymore. Her mother's eyes went to the door, where Sam stood, giving them privacy. Who's that? That's Sam. He's my roommate. Roommate. Her mother's smile was knowing. Bring him in here. Mom. Bring him in. Jordan waved Sam over. He approached carefully, respectfully. Ma'am, he said, I'm glad you're okay. You drove my daughter here at 2 a.m. Yes, ma'am. You care about her. It wasn't a question. Very much, Sam said. Jordan's mother studied him with the intensity of someone who'd spent 60 years learning to read people. Good, she finally said. She deserves someone who shows up. February came with snow and secrets. Jordan noticed it first in small ways. Sam took more phone calls in the other room. He spent more time on his laptop with the screen angled away. He was distracted, distant, somewhere else even when he was sitting right next to her. She told herself not to worry. She told herself to trust him. She told herself that the sick feeling in her stomach was just anxiety, not instinct. But on a Tuesday morning, exactly 4 months after that first day in the coffee shop, she saw the email. His laptop was open on the kitchen table. She walked past to put her coffee cup in the sink, and the subject line caught her eye. Offer acceptance, start date confirmed. She froze. She shouldn't look. She knew that, but her eyes betrayed her, scanning the visible text. Congratulations on your new position. We're excited to have you join our team in Seattle. As discussed, your start date of March 1st. Seattle. He was leaving. He'd known for weeks, maybe months, and he hadn't told her. She heard him coming down the hall. She turned to face him. Seattle, she said. His face went pale. Jordan, you're leaving. You accepted a job in Seattle, and you didn't tell me. I was going to tell you. When? The night before you left? Or were you just going to disappear? It's not like that. Then what is it like, Sam? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you let me fall for you knowing the whole time you were planning to leave. I applied for that job before I met you, he said, words tumbling out fast. Back in October, right after I moved here. I never thought I'd actually get it. It's a teaching position at a private school, the kind of job I've been dreaming about since I started teaching. They contacted me in December, but I didn't think I'd make it past the first interview. Then there was a second interview, and a third, and suddenly they were offering me the position, and I didn't know what to do because I was already what? Already in love with you. The words hung in the air between them. You don't get to say that now, she said, voice shaking. You don't get to say you love me and that you're leaving in the same conversation. I'm trying to figure it out. Figure what out? Whether I'm worth staying for. Whether this, she gestured between them, is worth giving up your dream job for. Don't bother. I already know the answer. Jordan, please. I trusted you. I let you in. I broke every rule I made to protect myself because I thought you were different. But you're just like everyone else. You're just better at hiding it. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Sam. I learned that a long time ago. She grabbed her bag and left. He called after her, but she kept walking. She didn't go to the coffee shop for 5 days. She worked from home, avoided Maya's texts, ignored her mother's calls asking what was wrong, because mothers always know. On the 6th day, she ran out of coffee. She told herself she'd go to a different shop. There were 100 coffee shops in the city, but her feet carried her to Maple Street anyway. Sam wasn't there. His terrible table in the back was empty. She felt the absence like a missing tooth, constant, aching wrong. Maya pulled her aside. He's been coming in at 5 in the morning. Leaves before you usually arrive. He asked me when you usually come in, so he could avoid you. Oh, he looks awful, Jordan, like he hasn't slept in days. That's not my problem. Isn't it, though? Jordan bought her coffee and left. It was Jordan's mother who broke the stalemate. She called on a Friday evening, voice firm in that way that meant she wasn't asking, she was telling. Come to dinner Sunday. Both of you. Mom, I don't think. I'm not asking, baby girl. Be here at 6. Tell Sam too. We're not talking. Then this will be a quiet dinner. 6 o'clock. She hung up. Jordan stared at her phone, torn between irritation and reluctant affection. Her mother had been orchestrating her life since birth. Some things never changed. She texted Sam, "My mother wants us both at dinner Sunday. 6 p.m. I don't want to go, but she's not taking no for an answer. You don't have to come." His response came 3 minutes later. "I'll be there." Sunday dinner at her mother's house was a tradition Jordan both loved and dreaded. Her mother cooked enough food for 12 people, even when it was just the 3 of them. She asked uncomfortable questions. She had opinions about everything. Jordan arrived at 5:45, helping her mother in the kitchen. "Why are you doing this?" Jordan asked, chopping vegetables with more force than necessary. "Because you're miserable and he's miserable. And I'm old enough to know that 2 miserable people who love each other are just being stubborn. I don't love him." Her mother gave her a look that could strip paint. "Baby girl, you've been in love with that boy since January. Don't insult my intelligence. He's leaving. So what's the point?" "The point," her mother said, stirring the pot with deliberate calm, "is that love doesn't come with guarantees. Your father and I had 6 beautiful years before the cancer took him. Should I have said no to him because I knew there'd be an ending? Should I have protected myself from 6 years of happiness because I was scared of the pain that might come later?" Jordan's eyes burned. "That's different." "How?" "Because Sam chose to leave. He chose his job over us. Did he? Or did you not give him a chance to choose at all?" The doorbell rang. Sam stood on the porch looking nervous and hopeful and terrified all at once. He wore a button-up shirt Jordan had never seen before and held a bouquet of flowers. Not for her, she realized, but for her mother. "Mrs. Chun," he said, "thank you for having me. Call me Patricia. Come in. Dinner's almost ready." They sat at the dinner table, the silence awkward and heavy. Patricia served pot roast and potatoes and kept the conversation going through sheer force of will, asking Sam about his writing, telling stories about Jordan as a child, pretending nothing was wrong. Halfway through dinner, she set down her fork. "All right, enough dancing around it. Sam, tell my daughter what you're really doing in Seattle." Jordan's head snapped up. "Mom, tell her." Sam took a breath. "The job offer. I turned it down." The room went silent. "What?" Jordan whispered. "I turned it down 3 days ago. I called them and said I couldn't accept the position. But why? That was your dream job. Because I realized something. Dreams change. What I wanted 6 months ago isn't what I want anymore. 6 months ago, I wanted to escape, to start over somewhere new, to prove I could still be the person I was before everything fell apart. But now, he met her eyes. Now, I want to build something here. With you. If you'll let me. Jordan couldn't breathe. You gave up Seattle for me? No, he said firmly. I gave up Seattle for us. There's a difference. You didn't ask me to stay. You didn't manipulate or guilt me. You walked away because you thought I'd already made my choice. But you were wrong. I made my choice the day you gave me that table back. I chose you. I've been choosing you every day since. I'm scared, Jordan whispered. Me too. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? Patricia stood up. I'm going to get dessert. You two talk. Actually talk this time. She left them alone. Jordan stared at her plate, at her hands, anywhere but at Sam. I'm sorry, she finally said. I should have let you explain. I should have trusted you enough to hear you out. But I was so scared of being left again that I left first. I understand that. I don't know if I'm good at this, at letting people in, at being vulnerable. I've spent so long protecting myself that I don't know how to be any other way. Sam reached across the table and took her hand. Then we'll figure it out together. We'll mess up. We'll have fights. We'll scare each other. But we'll do it together. That's what makes it worth it. What about your career? You gave up an incredible opportunity. I gave up one opportunity. There will be others. But Jordan, his voice cracked. There won't be another you. She started crying, quiet tears that rolled down her cheeks and dripped onto the tablecloth. I love you, she said. I'm terrified, and I'm probably going to be bad at this. And I'm definitely going to push you away sometimes because it's what I do. But I love you. I love you too. And I'm not going anywhere. They kissed across the dinner table, knocking over a glass of water that neither of them noticed. Patricia came back with pie and smiled to herself. Some things were worth waiting for. Love doesn't fix everything. That's what the movies don't tell you. They show you the kiss, the declaration, the happy ending. They don't show you the work that comes after. Sam and Jordan had to learn each other. Really learn each other. They learned that Jordan shut down when she was overwhelmed and needed space, not pushing. They learned that Sam got quiet when he was upset and needed invitation, not assumption. They learned that they both had trauma, different shapes, same weight, and that healing wasn't linear. March brought job rejections and medical bills, and a leak in the bathroom ceiling that cost $800 to fix. April brought Sam's first freelance writing gig. A small thing, barely paid, but his words in print made him light up in a way Jordan had never seen. May brought Jordan's promotion at work, a 15% raise that meant she could finally start paying down debt instead of just treading water. They celebrated the small victories and weathered the defeats together. And slowly, carefully, they built something neither of them had had before, partnership. It was a Saturday in June when Sam asked Jordan to come to the coffee shop after closing. Again, she teased. Are we having another writing night? Something like that. She arrived at 8 to find the lights dimmed and candles on the tables, actual candles, the nice kind that didn't smell like artificial vanilla. Maya was there, grinning like she knew a secret. What's going on? Jordan asked. Sam appeared from the back room. He looked nervous. Good nervous. Remember that first day? He asked. When I took your table? How could I forget? You were so fierce, so certain about what you needed. And I thought, this woman knows herself. I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be someone who knew what they wanted and wasn't afraid to claim it. Sam. Now it's my turn to claim something. He got down on one knee. Jordan's hands flew to her mouth. I don't have much, Sam said. I'm a struggling writer living in a rented room, trying to figure out how to make a life out of words and hope. But I have you, and you've taught me that home isn't a place. It's not a table by a window or a city on a map. Home is the person who sees you at your worst and chooses to stay anyway. He pulled out a ring, simple, beautiful, exactly right. Jordan, will you marry me? She couldn't speak. Tears were streaming down her face. I know it's fast, Sam continued, voice shaking. I know we've only been together 6 months. I know we should probably wait and be practical and do the responsible thing. But I also know that life is short and uncertain, and the only thing I'm absolutely sure of is that I want to spend mine with you. Yes, Jordan choked out. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. She pulled him up and kissed him. And the coffee shop erupted in applause because Maya had invited all the regulars, Mrs. Chun and Mr. Patterson and the college students, and the owner who finally fixed that buzzing light. They got married in September, exactly 1 year after that first morning when Sam took her table. Not a big wedding, just the coffee shop closed for the afternoon, decorated with lights and flowers, and a cake that Mrs. Chun insisted on baking herself. Jordan wore a simple white dress. Sam wore the same button-up shirt he'd worn to dinner at Patricia's house because Jordan said it was her favorite. Patricia cried through the entire ceremony. Maya was the maid of honor and kept making jokes about how she'd orchestrated the whole thing by giving Sam terrible seating. The owner officiated because he'd gotten ordained online, specifically for this occasion. But here's where the story gets interesting, because life has a way of surprising you right when you think you figured everything out. The day after the wedding, an envelope arrived at their apartment, hand-delivered, expensive paper, no return address. Sam opened it while Jordan was making coffee. Inside was a letter and a check, a very large check. Jordan, Sam said, voice strange. You need to see this. She came over, coffee forgotten. The letter read, Dear Sam, you don't know me, but I know your work. 3 months ago, my assistant gave me a manuscript to read on a flight. She said it was written by a former teacher who was trying to make it as a writer. She said the story had moved her to tears. I don't cry easily. I cried. Your novel, the one you've been working on, the one you finished in that coffee shop, it's extraordinary, raw and honest, and exactly what the world needs right now. I'm a publisher. I want to publish your book. The check is your advance. It's not charity. It's an investment in something beautiful. Call me when you're ready to talk. The check was for $250,000. Jordan stared at it. Is this real? Sam's hands were shaking. I don't understand. I never sent my manuscript to anyone. How did they? Maya's voice came from the doorway. They'd given her a key for emergencies. Surprised, she said sheepishly, I may have borrowed your manuscript back in March when you left it on the table one day. I read it, and I have a friend who works as an assistant to a publisher, and I maybe sent it to her without asking because I knew you'd never send it yourself because you're too humble and self-doubting, and someone needed to believe in you even when you didn't believe in yourself. Sam just stared at her. You're not mad? Maya asked nervously. Mad? Maya, you changed my life. You changed your own life. I just opened a door. You're the one who walked through it. Jordan was crying again. Happy tears this time. So many happy tears. Your book is being published, she whispered. Sam, your book is being published. He grabbed her and lifted her and spun her around in their tiny kitchen, both of them laughing and crying and holding on to each other like they'd never let go. But that's not the twist. Not really. The real twist came 3 weeks later. Jordan was at work when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello, is this Jordan Chun? Yes. My name is Dr. Margaret Wells. I'm calling from Seattle Presbyterian Hospital. I'm the head of their financial assistance program. Your mother, Patricia Chun, is one of our patients. Jordan's heart stopped. Is she okay? Did something happen? She's fine. I'm calling about something else. We've been conducting a review of our medical debt cases, and we discovered an error in your mother's billing. A significant error. What kind of error? Her insurance should have covered far more of her treatment than we initially calculated. Between the insurance corrections and our financial assistance program, her medical debt has been reduced by 92%. You owe approximately $8,000 instead of $97,000. The world tilted. I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Dr. Wells repeated it. Jordan sat down on the floor of her office, phone pressed to her ear, trying to breathe. Why now? Why did this take so long to discover? Honestly, because our billing system is antiquated and mistakes slip through. But we had a new analyst start last month. He's been going through old cases, finding errors, correcting them. He's the one who caught your mother's file. What's his name? I want to thank him. There was a pause. I'm not supposed to share employee information, but his name is David Chun. He said he was doing this in memory of his father. Jordan's breath caught. David, her brother, her older brother, who disappeared 7 years ago after a fight with their father, who'd blamed himself when their father got sick, who'd left and never come back and never called, and they'd all assumed he wanted nothing to do with them. David, Miss Chun, are you still there? Yes, Jordan whispered. Thank you. Thank you so much. She hung up and immediately called her mother. Mom, David is alive. He's in Seattle. He's working at your hospital. He's the one who found the billing error. Patricia was silent for a long moment. Then, I know, baby girl. You know, he called me 2 months ago, said he was sorry, said he'd been working his way back, trying to fix his mistakes, trying to be worthy of coming home, said he wasn't ready yet, but he was getting there. And you didn't tell me? He asked me not to. He wanted to do something good first, something that mattered. I think this was it. Jordan flew to Seattle the next weekend. Sam came with her, because that's what partners do. They show up for the hard things, not just the easy ones. They met David at a diner near the hospital. Jordan saw him through the window before they went in. He looked older, tired. He had their father's eyes. She almost turned around. Sam squeezed her hand. You can do this. They went inside. David stood up when he saw her. Jordan, David. They stared at each other across the table, years and hurt and love all tangled together. I'm sorry, David said, for leaving, for disappearing, for all of it. Why didn't you come back? Because I was ashamed, because I blamed myself for Dad's heart attack. We'd fought that morning, said terrible things to each other, because I felt like I destroyed the family, and I didn't know how to fix it. So you just left. You let us think you might be dead. I know it was selfish and cruel, and there's no excuse. I was drowning, and I thought staying away would hurt you less than watching me fall apart. It didn't, Jordan said quietly. It hurt more. David's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I've been trying to make it right. The job at the hospital. I specifically looked for positions where I could help people. When I saw Mom's name in the system, I couldn't fix the past, but I could fix this. It felt like the least I could do. Sam, who'd been quiet this whole time, spoke up. David, I'm Sam, Jordan's husband. David's eyebrows rose. Husband? Mom didn't mention. It's recent, Jordan said. September. Congratulations. David looked at Sam. Are you good to her? I try to be. Every day. Good. David turned back to Jordan. Look, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you to welcome me back like nothing happened. I just wanted you to know I'm here. I'm sober, 2 years next month. I'm in therapy. I'm doing the work. And if you ever want to talk, or if you need anything, I'm here. Jordan studied her brother, really looked at him for the first time. She saw the regret in his eyes, the way his hands shook slightly, the visible effort it took him to sit here and face her. She thought about Sam, who'd made mistakes and owned them, about her mother, who'd loved her father for 6 years, even knowing she'd lose him, about herself, who'd pushed Sam away because she was scared. Everyone was just trying their best. Everyone was just trying to heal. Mom's birthday is next month. Jordan said, you should come. She'd want you there. David's face crumbled. Really? Really? We're not okay yet. It's going to take time. But we can start there. He nodded, unable to speak. They didn't hug. Not yet. But they sat and drank coffee and talked for 2 hours. And when they left, Jordan felt lighter than she had in years. October came around again. The coffee shop on Maple Street looked the same as always. Same buzzing light. The owner had replaced it. Finally. Same regulars. Same smell of coffee and cinnamon rolls and possibility. But everything was different. Sam's book had been published in July. It wasn't a bestseller. Not yet, but it was selling steadily, and the reviews were beautiful. He'd been invited to do readings at bookstores and libraries. A movie producer had reached out about options. More importantly, he was writing again. Really writing. A new novel, better than the first, about second chances and coffee shops and finding home in unexpected places. Jordan had been promoted to senior accountant. She'd started a side project, helping people navigate medical debt, turning her own struggle into something that could help others. She was good at it. Really good. Patricia's health had stabilized. She'd started dating a widower from her church, a kind man who made her laugh. David came to visit once a month. It was still awkward sometimes, still careful, but they were building something. A bridge back to each other, one conversation at a time. And on this particular October morning, Sam walked into the coffee shop at 7:15. Jordan was already there, sitting at their table, not her table anymore, but theirs. He kissed the top of her head and sat down. Guess what? He said. What? The publisher wants a 3-book deal. They want to make it a series. She grabbed his hand. Sam, that's incredible. I know. I can barely believe it. He squeezed her fingers. None of this would have happened if I hadn't taken your table that day. You mean if I hadn't been mean to you about the table? Exactly. He grinned. Best worst first impression ever. Maya brought over their coffees. She knew their orders by heart. To us, Sam said, raising his cup. To us, Jordan echoed. They drank their coffee and watched the morning light come through the window and talked about everything and nothing. But then Jordan set down her cup, and Sam noticed something in her expression, something nervous and excited and terrified all at once. What? He asked. I have news too. Good news. Complicated news. She took a breath. I'm pregnant. The world stopped. Sam stared at her, coffee cup frozen halfway to his lips. You're what? Pregnant. About 8 weeks. I took 3 tests to be sure. Then I went to the doctor yesterday. It's real. We're having a baby, Sam said, like he was testing the words out. We're having a baby. We're having a baby. Are you okay? I know we didn't plan this. I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring everything out. He kissed her. Right there in the middle of the coffee shop. He kissed her like she was the answer to every question he'd ever asked. "I'm better than okay," he said when they broke apart. "I'm terrified and thrilled and absolutely certain that this is exactly right. Even though we're broke, we're not broke anymore. We're making it work. We'll make this work too. Even though my apartment is tiny, we'll find a bigger place. Or we'll make the tiny place work. We'll figure it out. Even though I have no idea how to be a mother, and I have no idea how to be a father, we'll learn together, like we do with everything else." Jordan started crying, happy tears, overwhelmed tears, terrified tears, all mixed together. "I love you," she said. "I love you too, both of you." He put his hand on her stomach, gentle and reverent, "All three of us." The regulars applauded. Mrs. Chun cried. Mr. Patterson bought a round of coffees for everyone. Maya took a picture of them sitting at their table, Sam's hand on Jordan's stomach, both of them grinning like idiots. It would become Jordan's favorite photo, the one she'd look at years later, when their daughter, brilliant, stubborn, fierce like her mother, asked how Mommy and Daddy met. And Jordan would tell her about a coffee shop on Maple Street, about a table by a window, about learning that sometimes the best things in life come from the moments when everything goes wrong. 5 years is both a lifetime and a blink. The coffee shop was different now. The owner had finally renovated, new chairs, new paint, that buzzing light replaced with soft Edison bulbs that made everything look golden. But something stayed the same. The table by the window, the regulars who showed up like clockwork, the smell of coffee and possibility. Sam and Jordan sat at their table on a Sunday morning, their daughter between them. She was 4 years old. Her name was Maya, named after the woman who'd believed in them before they believed in themselves. Little Maya was currently drawing on napkins with crayons, creating elaborate stories about dragons and princesses who saved themselves. "She's got your imagination," Jordan said to Sam. "She's got your determination," Sam replied. "Yesterday she spent 45 minutes trying to tie her shoes by herself. Refused all help. Almost cried from frustration, but wouldn't quit. That's my girl." Sam's third book was coming out next month. The series had found its audience, not massive but loyal, people who needed stories about healing and hope and finding your way home. Jordan had left the accounting firm and started her own consulting business, helping families navigate medical debt and financial hardship. She was busier than ever and happier than she'd ever been. Patricia watched Maya one day a week and spoiled her absolutely rotten. David had moved back home 6 months ago. He and Jordan had coffee every Wednesday. They were building something real, not the relationship they'd had before, but something new, something honest. And then the door opened. A young woman walked in, mid-20s, looking lost and overwhelmed. She had 2 duffel bags and eyes that said she'd been crying recently. She ordered a coffee and looked around for somewhere to sit. Every table was taken except one. The table where a man sat alone, laptop open, clearly deep in work. The young woman approached hesitantly. "Excuse me, is anyone sitting here?" The man looked up. He was young, maybe 30, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. "No, go ahead," he said, starting to gather his things. "I can move." "You don't have to move," the woman said quickly. Is it okay if I sit here? I promise I'll be quiet." "Of course." She sat down, and something passed between them, a moment of recognition, not of each other, but of something shared. The weight of starting over, the courage it takes to keep going. Jordan noticed. She always noticed. She nudged Sam and tilted her head toward the couple at the back table. Sam looked, and a slow smile spread across his face. "Think they'll figure it out?" Jordan whispered. "Eventually. If they're lucky. Should we say something?" "Like what?" "Hey, strangers, Your whole life is about to change because you sat at the same table in a coffee shop. Jordan laughed. When you put it that way. Little Maya looked up from her drawing. What's funny? Nothing, sweetheart, Jordan said, kissing her daughter's head. Mommy and Daddy are just remembering. Remembering what? How we met. At the coffee shop, Maya said importantly. She'd heard this story 100 times. Daddy took Mommy's table, and Mommy was grumpy. I was not grumpy, Jordan protested. You were absolutely grumpy, Sam said. Maybe a little grumpy, Jordan admitted. And then you fell in love, Maya continued. And then you got married. And then you had me. That's right. And you lived happily ever after. Sam and Jordan exchanged a look. Not happily ever after, Sam said gently, because life isn't a fairy tale. Sometimes Mommy and Daddy have hard days. Sometimes we argue. Sometimes things are difficult. But we choose each other every day, Jordan added. Every single day, we wake up and choose to be a team. That's what love is. Not a perfect ending, but a choice you keep making. Maya considered this seriously. Even when you're grumpy? Especially when we're grumpy. Okay. Maya went back to her drawing, satisfied. They stayed at the coffee shop for another hour. Sam worked on edits for his next book. Jordan answered emails. Maya drew 17 dragons and 3 princesses and 1 extremely detailed cat. And at the table in the back, the young woman and the kind man started talking. Just small talk at first. The weather, the coffee, how long they'd been in the city. But then deeper things. What brought them here. What they were running from. What they were running toward. Jordan watched them and remembered being so scared of letting someone in that she pushed away the best thing that ever happened to her. Remembered Sam turning down his dream job. Not for her, but for them. Remembered learning that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up. About choosing each other even when it's hard. About building something together. Brick by brick, day by day. She reached across the table and took Sam's hand. He looked up, smiled, squeezed her fingers. No words needed. After 5 years, they spoke in shorthand, a language built from shared mornings and quiet evenings and everything in between. They left the coffee shop at 10 o'clock. Maya held both their hands, swinging between them, chattering about the dragons in her pictures. The autumn sun was warm. The street was busy with weekend crowds. Somewhere, someone was playing music, and in the coffee shop behind them, at a table in the back, 2 strangers were becoming something more. Because that's how it happens. Not with fireworks or orchestras or dramatic declarations, but with a conversation in a coffee shop, with a choice to stay, with a decision to be brave, even when you're terrified, with small moments that add up to a lifetime. 10 more years passed. The coffee shop on Maple Street closed its doors for the last time on a Tuesday in March. The owner was retiring. The building had been sold to developers who wanted to put in luxury apartments. Sam and Jordan came to the final day. Maya was 14 now, all long limbs and attitude and brilliance. She was writing her own stories, just like her father, arguing about social justice, just like her mother. They sat at their table one last time. It's strange, Jordan said, looking around at the empty shop. This place changed our lives, and now it's just gone. Not gone, Sam said. It'll always be here. Maybe not the physical space, but the memory, the story. That's very poetic of you. I'm a writer. It's my job to be poetic. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Maya took a picture of them. Her parents at the table where they met 15 years later, still choosing each other. They left the keys with the owner and walked out into the afternoon. The street was the same. The bookstore was still there, now a used bookshop that had somehow survived. The laundromat had become a yoga studio. Everything changes. Everything stays the same. No regrets. Sam asked Jordan as they walked. About what? That day. Being grumpy. Almost pushing me away. All of it. Jordan thought about it. About the journey from that first cold rejection to this moment, walking down the street with her husband and daughter. Their lives intertwined, so completely she couldn't remember what alone felt like. No regrets, she said. Every messy, imperfect moment led us here. I wouldn't change a thing. Even the part where I took your table, especially the part where you took my table. They kissed right there on Maple Street, while Maya made disgusted teenager noises and pretended not to be charmed by her parents' love story. And somewhere across the city, in a different coffee shop, a woman was sitting at a table by the window. A man walked in, looking for somewhere to sit. Their eyes met. He smiled. She didn't smile back, but she would. Eventually, because that's how it happens. Over and over again. In coffee shops and grocery stores and libraries and bus stops. 2 people. 1 moment. 1,000 choices after that. Love isn't a destination. It's the journey. And the journey is everything. This was the story of a man who took a table and a woman who needed to learn to share. Of choosing love over fear. Of building something beautiful out of broken pieces. Of second chances and third chances, and chances you didn't know you'd get. This was their story. What's yours? Drop a comment below. Tell me about the moment everything changed for you. The person who took your table. The day you chose to stay instead of run. Because everyone has a story, and every story matters. Thank you for spending these hours with me. With Sam and Jordan and Maya and everyone who showed up at that coffee shop on Maple Street. May you find your table. May you choose love, even when it's terrifying. May you build something beautiful. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story about love, hope, and second chances. Until next time, keep believing in coffee shop miracles. The end.